Look, I don't know, man. All I know is that we're living in unprecedented times. Because
you know this is going to come out like 2 weeks after the Donald Trump got shot at.
I wasn't going to talk about that. I was going to talk about how Shannon Doherty died.
Oh.
Shannon Doherty is now reunited with her love from 90210 in heaven.
Yeah?
Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
I know, absolutely not.
David, do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
You're talking about Luke Perry, of course.
Yeah.
Luke Perry's dead?
Yeah, he died.
Oh my God,
ago.
Nate.
I didn't know Luke Perry was dead.
They're reunited in heaven, finally.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about
90210
Donald Trump.
fangirls are so happy. We're over the moon.
It's
And Shelley Duvall, she's reunited with Popeye, finally. They're together again.
Dr. Ruth. Who is she reunited with? Gene Simmons. No, Richard Simmons, not Gene Simmons. We want Gene Simmons to die, but Richard Simmons died.
You're like, you can take both of them. It's fine. I don't have anything against Richard Simmons. It's just, to take out Gene, I feel like.
Yeah, Gene should probably go.
Has he done anything bad? Like, why do we... I know I don't like his music.
General sex pestery, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, the thing, like, celebrities, so they all die in threes.
Yeah, this is like 5 yesterday, and they couldn't even get Trump. Are you kidding me? But
yeah, 5.5.
We moved on from Luke Perry and Shannon Doherty way too quick.
I'm sorry.
Were you not a 90210 head? I was a little young for it.
Yeah, so was I. That's why I didn't watch it. I was busy watching, like, cool shit.
Well, my sister made me watch it, so I watched a lot more 90210.
Yeah.
And... yeah, those two inspired a lot of thoughts in me.
Was the show just the OC, but like,
Yeah, for Gen Xers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly the same? Like people getting shot and like,
No.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it was a little less Ryan Murphy. Like the Ryan Murphy was turned down to a 6 for 90210, and it came up to an 11 for the OC.
Yeah. 90210 is definitely a little more realistic and human.
Had a lot of like 30-year-old teenagers.
It did, yeah.
That's the only thing I know about it.
Look, I'm not going to talk about how old I think Ian Ziering was or Brian Austin James.
Why do you have this in your brain? Like what?
Why do I have anything in my brain,
I'm
Nate?
just like, why do you need these names? Do you know the names of our neighbors? Do you know their names?
I already fucked up. It's Brian Austin Green.
Okay.
I was going to really hate myself if I didn't correct myself. So
Name the first name of our neighbors. Any of them. Any neighbor.
KB. Because it's on his truck. it's his company. No, we should probably introduce our guest.
No, I'm just going to start the music now.
Oh, okay.
Let's have a chat about
Got the purple wanna talk about it, let it boil over, blow the temple, call this hate and speech. Once the taste is on your tongue, you'll only crave.
Oh, baby. Welcome to Hate Speech. That's Nate. I'm Tyler.
I'm the baby.
You're my little baby boy. And joining us today from Gimmicks, from Are You My Mother, from FearCoded, one of the big dogs of Glitterjaw, David.
I'm a big dog. Woof, woof, woof. It's great to be here.
You're going to get some stuff started if you start woofing on this podcast. I can make no promises.
I know what I'm in for. I knew what I was doing.
Wait, is it me? Am I the one that's...
Yes.
Okay.
You're our delicious baby boy. Delicious?
Yeah, I don't want to be delicious. I mean,
You're kind of sweet. I see that.
there's only one famous delicious baby boy in history, and that was the one that got eaten by that dingo.
Holy shit.
Confirmed delicious. I'm sorry, Dan. We were introducing you. How's it going?
It's going great. I am doing so much better than a baby on the Outback right now. Just tremendously fantastic.
Yeah, you were telling us about this soccer game and how it's not coming home.
It's not coming home for England. No, I think Spain are the favorites to win the Euro Cup, which is happening in a few minutes. And we might end up hearing celebration outside my window here.
Oh, why is that?
I live in Spain. Oh, I see. I see what you were doing.
That's how a host does it.
I didn't know you lived in Spain, actually. This is news to me.
I ask a question and then talk over the answer. That's how we do it.
Nate, earlier when Tyler and I were talking about what time it was here, where did you think that I was in the world where it would be 8 p.m.? Do you just think that everything...
8 a.m. I thought it was like 8 a.m. You like to Hawaii or...
Yeah, David's on Alaska time.
No, actually, the thing is, I just forget every prior sentence. Like, I just live in the moment, baby.
Wow.
Yeah, when you're talking, Nate's thinking of what he's going to say next. He's not hearing.
Yeah. That's good though. That's good. You listen. You're here. You're present. You're thinking of yourself. You're everything I want in the world.
Yeah, just like don't live in the past. You don't need it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the past, even if it's like the last couple of seconds. Just get rid of it.
And with that bit of Kylo Ren mentality, do you want to tell us what we're drinking?
Well, like the thing is that my brain has actually improved. You may not realize this. Because of the way my brain normally works, but my brain is actually it's pulsating, it's strong, and it's powerful.
Go ahead.
And it's because I've been drinking our wonderful sponsor, our good friends, Magic Mind. We've been drinking Magic Mind.
We've been on it, folks, and we're just guzzling it down like hogs.
Right, and like they come with directions here. It says shake, breathe, and then drink. And so I've made ourselves a shake of Magic Mind as our object of penance, pleasure, and pay, as you said last time, because it's Magic Mind.
David, would you do the listeners a favor and describe what this looks like?
Yeah, wow, you've chosen a strange guest to do this because as Nate pours this viscous-looking liquid into a glass, it reminds the viewer of an Orange Julius, but an evil version. It looks like it could be a frozen margarita, but made by Satan.
To be fair, it is chunky because I've added things to this drink.
Well, great. And my curiosity, I am colorblind, so I can't describe this color except to say that it looks a little bit like an old pair of khakis that I used to own.
That's, I think, completely accurate.
I would call it an olive green. Do you want to know what's in this drink?
No.
Okay.
Well,
No,
I'll
before
drink it first.
before you drink, Nate said to let it breathe. Did you already let it breathe, or are you supposed to breathe?
I think we're both supposed to breathe. Myself and the Magic Mind, we're going to breathe.
Okay.
Are you telling me you decanted the Magic Mind?
Yeah, you got to let it breathe.
Okay. Okay.
You learn it from Columbo every day.
Yeah.
All right.
I get new facts. Here we go.
It's not bad.
What have you done to make this taste good?
So, do you want to know what I put in it?
Yeah.
I put in ice cubes. Number one, important, because it's a smoothie.
Step 1, Magic Mind. Step 2, ice cubes.
That's right. Step 3, a good handful of Metamucil, because I never really measure out the Metamucil. You just kind of measure with your heart.
Are you fucking with me right now?
It's got a whole bunch of Metamucil in there, and 1 scoop of protein powder.
Do you know?
Because the brain is a muscle too. You got to work that out.
Shut the fuck up. So you know how sometimes you're like, oh, Tyler, I can't take that substance. It might alter my brain somehow. Mm-hmm. And like, that's your big sticking point for not using hallucinogens or whatever.
Yeah.
You fucked with my bowels by giving me Metamucil. And you know I can't not drink it because you'll use that over me to call me a coward.
It's good. It's good for your bowels. You want it.
It does taste good.
Yeah.
David, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm having a Rubius tea. I don't know how to fucking say that. I've only seen it on the box. The tea that doesn't have caffeine.
Ruby Roo.
Ruby Roo. Ruby
It's
Roo.
too many O's.
It's Ruby Roo? That can't be right.
I don't know
No,
what it
it's
is.
like Roobius. It's like some Morbius shit. I don't know.
We're straight Reuben over here. Now I want to see.
So about I gotta finish the thing. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Nate's got to do
Please
the pay
keep-
part.
Keep
I
drinking
gotta
this
do.
shit.
Do it like Suze Orman would.
Okay, so we're doing it like a Suze Orman pitch. Here we
Yeah.
go. Shit, I forgot her voice. It just passed through me.
You just have to sound like you're a rich white woman.
If you are not taking advantage of your 401k, you are making one of the biggest mistakes out there.
That's right, Magic Minds. It's got nootropics. It's got mushrooms in there. Lion's mane. It's good for your brain.
And you see what color this is? You see, it's green. And we know what that means. That's the color of money.
Tyler, what's the combination to make green? Go.
Blue, yellow.
Blue, yellow? I think this sounds right. I don't know color theory.
Are you saying I don't know basic colors?
Maybe. You should drink more Magic Mind, then you would know, because I've been drinking Magic Mind for a while, and I do notice that my brain is strong. It could like, it could crush things.
That allergic reaction's happening again.
Anywho, if you would like a strong, powerful brain, I've got a deal for you. This is only for podcasts, and you can only use this deal from Hate Speech. No other podcasts give you this offer. This is special. If you go to magicmind.com/hatespeech20, you can get 20% off your first order of Magic Mind.
Yeah, think of it kind of like the debit card that will increase your credit score.
No, because that one's bad. This is a good deal.
Oh, right. They're not the same deal at all.
Okay. Good. Let's drink it down. Just get it down. Get it down your gullet.
I'm just glugging. Oh, so David.
Wow.
For our topic of hate, you chose Suze Orman.
I did.
While Nate and I glug this crap down, will you give the listener just a brief overview of who Suze Orman is?
Wow. Suze Orman, maybe also more officially known as Susan Lynn Orman, is a, quote, financial guru who sort of made her hay in the early 2000s as sort of one of those shock folks alongside, Jim Cramer is probably the most famous among them, who would host these cable shows.
I love Jim Cramer.
You love Jim Cramer.
You love Jim Cramer.
You
I'll talk about
sociopath.
it later.
Just absolute insane thing to say at the top of this podcast.
The waste disposal stock that could make you money. See, I'm not just a lover of garbage. I don't wear a hazmat suit because I like to screw around with any old landfill, although only the best. Most profitable waste is worth my attention. And the only waste that's good enough for me is toxic waste.
We'll hit it later, but go off on Suze Orman. Let's paint the picture of who she is.
I'm just desperately worried that this brain boost thing is not actually working if you love Jim Cramer.
Maybe you need to get your brain boosted. Maybe I ascended to a different plane.
Hey, listen, I went to the website. When you hover over the buy button, it changes to start crushing life. That's impressive.
What the fuck are we selling?
You got life? Crush it.
Yeah.
Pound it into a ball.
International shipping. That's excellent. Well done, y'all. Anyway, so Orman had a huge show on CNBC. She would take calls from people, and her famous catchphrase was to shout "denied" at them like she was a human credit card machine, giving you the worst news ever when you were on a shitty first date.
Show me the money. Are you nuts? Denied. You cannot afford it. All right, you are denied. You are denied to buy a Chanel bag. Are you kidding? You are denied.
I recognized the name, and I didn't really know who she was until I saw her face. And I've seen this face for the last 20 years. Any airport, you'll see a Suze Orman.
Let me tell you about Nate's boosted brain for a second.
Okay.
Because I told Nate your idea, David, and he's like, Suze Orman. Why does this guy love cancer? Isn't that the cancer lady? And I said, that's Susan Komen.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I said. I mean, from what I understand, she also has problems.
Probably.
But that's not who we're talking about. We were talking about the financial guru.
Yeah, that's how she likes to go. She likes to go by Suze Orman, financial guru. Guru is such a strange word to put with the idea of finance. Finance being this super Western concept, and guru being mostly reserved for Eastern religions. But go off, Suze. Do your thing.
Yeah, she's a finance Jedi.
She's going off vibes.
Well, specifically personal finance. She's not a person that is on Bloomberg talking about whether or not Nvidia's up or down. She's here to give you personal advice of how you should handle your tens of dollars.
Yeah, she was sort of described as the financial person to go to for the Walmart audience. Is sort of her bread and butter is folks who don't have a lot of money, and she tells them to put the money they don't have into the stock market, a highly volatile system that will probably cause them to lose more money than they will end up making.
And you should never, ever have treats. You shouldn't buy coffee.
Denied.
Well, so David, are you familiar with Dave Ramsey?
I am familiar with Dave Ramsey. He's sort of the male version of Suze Orman.
Yep, they're of the same school, which is you should never have any fun ever.
Yeah.
I just realized we need a non-binary finance guru.
Wow. It's time. It's time. Haven't we made it as a society for me to hate somebody but not hate them with a gender. Like, I think it's time.
God, what would that even look like? Sparrow says you can't get spaghetti with your friends.
Denied, girlfriend.
We don't agree with Sparrow.
And
I
listen,
mean, like,
here's the deal.
yeah.
I know that hate speech has already covered coffee. I came to bury Caesar, not praise him. Like, I'm not relitigating coffee, but man, these financial gurus hate you buying a fucking cup of coffee, but they will all turn around and invest their money, and usually your money, into Starbucks. It is wild.
There's that, and also, like, maybe we should be investing in gold instead of coffee.
Right.
Maybe I should have bought gold instead of Starbucks.
All right, so I'm going to out myself a little bit as a bad leftist.
Oh, God.
I do follow like financial things. I read financial news. I look at the stock markets. I don't own stock because, I don't like gambling. But I do follow it as a means of keeping check of my enemy.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't out you as a bad leftist. That outs you as a good leftist. You're
yeah, but like you shouldn't be too into it. Like
No.
I read it. It is one of like the second or third thing I look up in the
Nate,
morning.
you are Sun Tzuing this shit. You are doing exactly what we teach people to do in war, which is to know your enemy.
So Suze Orman is part of the enemy cadre. My recent enemy of like the personal finance space, which we may get to later if this becomes a series. Okay, so there's David Ramsey. He's on the list.
Jim Cramer is on the list.
He's not on the list.
What?
Nate,
I'll get to it.
Listen,
I feel
Nate
like I
loves
do
a
need to get
sound
to it.
effect. He loves a guy who pushes a button.
He gives the best advice if you do the exact opposite of what he says. That it's a known thing. If you do exactly the opposite of what Jim Cramer does, you'll actually make money. It is an ETF. You follow not an ETF. I forget what the financial instrument is, but like. It's like that Nancy Pelosi tracker. Like, oh yeah, if you follow, so you know about the Nancy
Yes,
Pelosi
I do,
thing,
yeah.
right? Like if you buy into her stocks, you're pretty much guaranteed to make money because she always makes money on what she buys.
Yes.
Same with Jim Cramer. If you do the opposite, anything he is recommending, he's trying to trick people into buying into. Right. So if he says, oh, you know what, you really need to go heavy into AI right now, you should maybe maybe I shouldn't do that because maybe he's trying to bump up some stocks of some sort.
Right.
Right. So anyways, Jim Cramer is not a part of the list, though. I don't because I think he's funny. He has a bit. He yells at the TV screen. And it makes me feel engaged. I like an entertainer. And also, like, you can tell what to do by not doing what he does. Don't do what Jim Cramer does.
Not confusing at all.
Yeah, it's perfectly straight. And this other guy, he's been showing up on my TikTok feed. Caleb Hammer. Are you familiar with Caleb Hammer?
The Hammer, yeah.
So you know Caleb Hammer.
I have seen his TikToks.
He's such an asshole. I hate him.
I'm confident on my finances not making more than 40,000. Like, I don't think I need more than 40,000.
I mean, your rent alone is basically 45% of your take home. I wouldn't say we're exactly thriving. You're not calculating the fact that there's $75,000 of student loan debt that are not being had to paid right now.
It's not 75.
69, you're right.
What do you want me to say?
I just don't think you're correct.
Okay. That's fine.
Can you explain how you would make it on $40,000? Like, that scares me on behalf of you.
I know what I'm doing. Just to be clear, you don't need to point this out to me. I realize this to myself.
Every single one of these people, including Suze Orman, I almost said Orsman.
We'll just call her by her real name, Snoozy Boreman.
That's right, Snoozy Boreman.
Snoozy Snoreman?
Her only purpose is to get people to call into her show so she can yell at them and tell them how bad of a person they are, both like morally but also financially.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, David, does that kind of like sum up her show, her day-to-day show?
That was her show. She also had a series of self-help books about sort of like the system's keeping you down as a woman. You deserve better. You're powerful and strong, which is how she ended up on Oprah's radar, which is really what catapulted her into our lives. So just like you listed other people, we could also talk about Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz. There's such good company that the Orman keeps here that we can have a field day with.
Yeah, I think like if I am drawing like a Glenn Beck crazy diagram. Remember Glenn Beck?
Yes, I remember Glenn Beck.
That
Probably somewhere on this podcast too at some point.
Yeah, but like, I would draw the circle and have Oprah be at the root and then all these monstrous people kind of coming out of Oprah.
She is like an evil Nick Fury creating the Dark Avengers of scammers and flammers, huh?
Right. Dr. Oz. Was it Dr. Phil too?
Yeah.
Like it was a doctor.
Yeah.
Both good doctors.
Good real doctors.
Yeah, and like Suze Orman, because I guess like she was a regular on the Oprah show.
Yeah, yeah. And Oprah, encouraged her to give that advice because, listen, here's the deal: is that personal finance is one of those things that is sort of hard to come by and understand and get into. And so there are lots of people who are looking for help in the personal finance sphere. But that help primarily comes from flimflammers like Orman, who are trying to get you to buy into a system that they have figured out how to make money from. And it's this pernicious aspect of capitalism that turns us all into unwitting allies by saying like, well, if I would ever like to stop working and be able to afford medical care in this piece of shit country, I'm going to have to put aside 12% of my income and not have a latte because that's the only way that I can make it happen.
Yeah. Specifically with like Suze Orman and Dave Ramsey, both of them encompass like the poverty sphere of personal finance, which is wild.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't have a lot of money, you have no business in like investing, really.
No.
I mean, like, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take my advice. But like, you only really are able to use the levers of capital if you have the lever, right? If you don't have money, I'm sorry, you're not going to get money out of that system. We would all like it because like, what is the allure of Suze Orman? Like, how do I get suckered into Suze Orman?
Well, it's the same allure that all these people have. It's someone confidently telling you, I can make your life better. You fuck this up. You fuck this up. I am going to make it better. And you are going to thank me because I know what's best. You don't know what's best. You're an idiot. But I do.
Yeah. I like how you put on the Trump voice when you did that by accident.
It's the same type of shit. Some strong personality has all the answers, and people that are desperate that don't have the answers, that have no idea what the fuck they're doing, turn to that because, hey, what if they do?
Well, and I also think that there's resonance with some of the personal narrative that she tells her audience. You really have to. Tyler asked me how much research you should do, and I said none, like because I had to do all of this a couple years ago. But I have read all of her published works up through 2021. I am familiar with the story that she tells the world, that she came from nothing, that she took out a loan from her friends to start a restaurant, gave the money to Merrill Lynch, and Merrill Lynch wasted it all on investments they shouldn't have made. So our girl Suze went and worked for Merrill Lynch, got to the top, told them they were idiots, left to Prudential, then started her own company, and you could do that too. And doesn't that sound like a beautiful dream, except all of it's bullshit? I mean, the money thing in Merrill Lynch is true, but all the rest of it's bullshit.
Why did you punish yourself? Like, let's get to the root of why this happened. Why did you read these books?
First, let me defend David for 1 second. I don't think you deserve to ask people why they punish themselves, considering what we're drinking and doing with this.
Here's the thing. Actually, it tastes okay. The color's a bit off.
And it's a bit thick on the bottom, which is same, but
that's Metamucil. It'll do that.
David, please answer Nate's insulting question.
Here's the deal. I think all hate comes from something very personal to you. So I don't just hate Suze Orman because she is this sort of flim-flam advice giver that probably puts more people into poverty than takes them out of it. But Suze Orman was selected by the volunteers of the organization I worked for to be our closing keynote speaker in 2021. And it is my job to prepare worst case scenario situations for all of our events when I worked for this company. And so I did that for Orman, and my memo that I had to write internally was not taken very well. And so that only made me more strong in my convictions. Because if someone had just been like, thanks, David, and put it in a pile, I would have been like, fine, whatever, who cares? But being told that we're stuck with this, we've got to move forward to it. It doesn't matter if she's going to say problematic things. That's just how the world works. And to the point that my boss even said, like, do you not want to get your retirement contribution from the company, which is an illegal thing to say, even in a joke. And then I was just become pissed. I've been pissed ever since. I was righteous in my anger, and it's made me hate her and hate all of these people.
Yeah, it sounds like you were held at gunpoint to like prop up a scammer.
Yeah. Yeah, but
right?
She got hers in the end, and I think we'll end up talking a little bit about that. But that's why I listened to all of the podcasts she has done. I did not listen to all the episodes. I cannot possibly do that. And I read her complete works.
So you're here for revenge.
I am here for revenge. I mean, I think we already got it, but yeah, I'm here. I'm here to tell the people what's happened.
Before we get to the revenge, was there anything in her complete works that you thought, hey, maybe that's actually okay kind of stuff going on in there?
Yeah, I mean, the answer, truly and honestly, Tyler, is yes, except that it's all aphorism. If you have enough money that you're not spending all of it, and you've got a little bit of extra, you should consider putting a little bit of extra into a savings account. Okay, well, that didn't seem like revolutionary advice. Like what kind of savings account? That information isn't in her books, actually. That's how surface level a lot of this is. Yeah, she explains how credit scores work, but understanding how a sausage machine makes sausage doesn't make you a good sausagier. Whatever.
It doesn't give you more sausage.
Exactly. You just understand how the process works. Like I can understand credit scores all day, but I don't get to like modify the behavior of the wizard who picks my fucking number out. Like just understanding it does nothing. It's purposeless. And yet there's 6 chapters about it in her first book. Just understanding the 3 credit unions, how they work, how they were formed, their histories, their background. Wikipedia made this book useless.
I mean, it's a, she's a scam artist, and I think part of her scam is to find the thing that people can understand or have like some passing knowledge about that they want or think they might want. Yeah. And it's like, I can give this to you, right? Because I don't want to dive into the card.
Her debit card.
Oh, we have to talk about this card.
Like we will. I just want to I want to set the scene, right, of Suze Orman. Like, so in the beginning, she got a spot on Oprah. We did watch this documentary, which is the funniest documentary I've ever seen. You've probably seen this thing.
Yeah, there's a really good video essay on YouTube about Suze Orman that deconstructs her pretty well.
Yeah.
Scathing. The most scathing thing I've ever seen. I would say like every minute or so, it would be a zoom, like a crash zoom into Suze Orman's face of her making a deranged smile. And she'd be like, well, she just didn't care about the people really at all. Whatever. I'm going to insert clips from this thing because it's fucking amazing. I love this thing. It's so hateful, and it really kind of,
It's inspiring in its hate.
It is. That's right.
The video I produced helped Susie get her first book deal after her proposal had already been turned down by over 30 publishers. Mea culpa. Then this happened.
Are you not denied? You cannot afford it. You are denied. You are denied. Are you kidding? You are denied. I'd rather see you carry money in a paper bag.
And so that's how I learned kind of the basics of a Suze Orman, right? Yeah. She started as she sold herself as a social worker in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. Another reason to hate her, because I was a social worker. It was, a profession that I found home with. I worked in hospital social
Heroes
work.
who don't get paid.
Yeah. I mean, I was a douchebag who ended up working in a nonprofit and made tons of money. So, is it true? Who knows? But she couldn't cut it as a social worker. She dropped out of the program and went to go work for a bakery. There's nothing wrong with working for a bakery, except that it was all schmooze and flim flam from there. She worked for like a cupcake place in the 80s or like the late 70s, 80s, when like cupcakes were the hot shit. And just made like wealthy friends. And that's how she got money to start her own restaurant.
Yeah, I do remember when you were saying she got a loan from her friends. It's like, I can't think of any friends who would just give me a loan to start a business. What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
You really got to seduce a rich old man to get that.
And I'm not against doing that, but
we're big fans of that.
Yeah. We're just not as skilled as Suze Orman at doing that,
Which, brave of her as a lesbian to seduce a rich old man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's beyond sexuality, Tyler. It's not.
Well, and her sexuality actually is another issue that I have with Orman. I think that she is part of this. I think when you're queer, here's the deal. When you're queer, part of like your very nature is to reject the things that are oppressive, because those same systems will be used against you. No matter how white, male, and rich you are, they will eventually come for you. And so when queer people sort of betray the idea and nature of their like found family and identity, it just compounds the problems that I have with this individual. I don't think it's bad that she's a lesbian. Like, that's awesome. But I do think that using sort of her identity as a queer woman as a way of saying like, well, no, but I'm like super oppressed. And I think that if you've got $10 to $30 million in the bank, you're not super oppressed. You're like a little oppressed.
I mean, she's looking for paths to credibility, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I was a lesbian woman, I would trust Suze Orman more because like, oh, she knows.
Right.
Like it adds a little, like, you know, I'm not saying it would be total trust, but like, you know, it added like a little kind of weight on the scale of like, you know, I trust this person with my finances.
Right.
You think Nate, if you were a gay woman, you would look at Suze Orman's hair and you would go, this is a woman I can trust.
It is
finally someone said it. That's not me.
It's a powerful hairstyle.
Yeah. Listen, I know, I know you all don't like to talk about people's appearance, and I think that's very responsible and respectful. So I actually found a quote from Helene Olin's book, Pound Foolish, The Dark Side of Personal Finance Industry. Susie's appearance is a caricature of itself. Neon bright jackets, deep fake tan, bright unnerving teeth, and an ultra blonde, ultra styled hair that won't move an inch no matter what's happening.
Here's the thing. Appearance is fair game if it's a choice. If you're like, I'm actively sculpting something of myself here. And she's a very manicured personality.
The only thing I really, truly thought about her appearance, and I noticed it when we were watching that documentary about it, and how we found out she's friends with Elizabeth Warren, I was like, oh, that's just yassified Liz Warren. That's what Suze Orman looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I got, which is a compliment and neg on both of them, I think.
It feels also very fake, though. You know, like if that hairstyle was on an authentic person, I'd be like, yeah, not.
Well, I mean,
not for me, but
that hairstyle is emblematic of what is the Karen. That's
it is
like
the Karen.
Slang as the Karen.
Yeah,
haircut.
that's right.
And
you
so
get it because you want to signal something.
How did we? I mean, because Susie predates the idea of the Karen. So, like, how is this not called the Suze?
It should be. We're bringing it back.
I just think it's the way it rolls out the tongue. Nobody wants to say the Suze. The Suze. I think this doesn't hit.
I think that also unfairly targets sousaphone players.
Yeah.
Who really don't they have enough going on in their lives? We don't need to add one more thing.
Solidarity for our sousaphone players.
We love you. Come
Seems
on
heavy.
the podcast.
Seems like a heavy thing to do in marching band.
And I think also to Tyler's point, even her name is this like manicured fakeness, Suze. And sometimes you're supposed to look at that and know that that's Susie, spelled in an absolutely bonkers way.
Is it a stage name? Is that like...
It is, yeah. Her actual name is Susan Lynn Orman.
Suzanne. Huh.
Weird. I can't believe this person who changed to a stage name has a completely manicured look and sells books full of aphorisms. Failed in a job that requires empathy.
Well, and also like shitty aphorisms too. Like some of them, it's a lot of personal responsibility shit. And that's personal finance people because like it is not the system's fault. It is your fault because we can teach you how to fix it.
Yeah, I excelled in this system. Why can't you?
Right. And like one of her things is she's very anti-college.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Just never go to college. She went to, like, one of her bragging points, she brings it up like 20 times in that little documentary I saw, was that she kept on saying, oh, I got a C in college. C's in college, and look at me now. So that means college is bullshit.
I never got a grade above a C in college. You know, so I never thought I'd be anything. And look at me today. If I can do what I did, every single one of you could at least reach into your pocket tonight and at least do this so you can protect yourself and your families.
Here's the thing, like there's some colleges that are bullshit. I'm not here to completely defend colleges.
She taught at one, the University of Phoenix. We should.
That's a
for-profit scam school that just extracted money from people who had none.
Right. Can you believe that she sold out her beliefs? But like, you know, like at the same time, also like college is one of the ways to get out of poverty. Like it is proven, you know, whether you're pro it or against it, like, you know, it's a pretty reliable way to get out.
You will end up saddled with debt. I think I am a testament to getting out of poverty. It's no secret that I come from two very meth-addled, very impoverished people with no college degree. And then I went to nursing school and now I'm reliably lower middle class.
But it's all because of the student loans. Thou shalt not have debt.
Yeah, ever. I did take out student loans. I got $30,000 in student loans. Hey, do you want me to read my credit score too? Like,
do you have your credit score?
I can get it real quick.
Okay. But I mean, like, David, how do you feel about the anti-college sentiment from Suze Orman?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the organization I worked for that invited her to be a closing keynote speaker was an organization for college and university administrators. So I feel pretty strongly about the idea. I mean, I agree. Everything that you just said, Nate, is so on the nose. College is a way to break a cycle of poverty. College is also a way to make a more educated population. And I think the problem is once you get to the top of the system and you figure out how to make the system work for you, what you realize is you need people to be in poverty to keep you in your class and status. And once that sort of seeing the matrix has happened, you can't go back and be a good billionaire. It's just impossible to happen.
Yeah, Suze Orman can't trick people that have gone to college.
There you go,
Sorry.
Nate.
Tyler's showing me my credit score.
My credit score.
Sorry, your credit score.
702. And I showed Nate
It's not bad.
to prove that it's good. It's technically good.
Yeah. Congrats.
Do you want to do yours? I bet yours is better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been a while since I looked. I don't have like any of the apps because I don't care.
Nate's credit score is 821.
TransUnion?
Yeah.
That's a big
Woke.
win for diversity.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, it is woke. David's right.
Geez. Banking's gone woke.
When are we getting cis union?
Oh my God.
Oh, I guess that's just Experian.
Yeah. No, the FICO one. What was it called?
The Franklin Isaac Corporation or something?
No, the Good Isaac or Fair Isaac.
Yeah.
Fair Isaac Credit Organization, FICO. You could be the new Fair Isaac, but like for non-wokeness.
What up? I'm Fair Isaac. How you doing?
Don't make Fair Isaac a voice.
Why? He should have. It can't just sound like me. Hi, I'm Fair Isaac. How you doing? It just doesn't hit the same. Hey everybody, I'm Fair Isaac. I'm gonna calculate your worth in the society. The hat really works, David. I bought this hat.
Describe the hat
at the country fair, the Oregon Country Fair, which is like the biggest hippie festival in the world.
Yeah,
and it's like this purple crushed velvet with a line of leopard print across the dome. Some people are saying I'm too white to be wearing this hat, and they're probably right.
You know what it is, Tyler? You look a little bit like someone who had 7 or 8 lines in a Cheech and Chong movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. And I will not stop wearing it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel powerful, and I like it.
It's a good space in life, you know.
And feeling good is important, which is part of what we use money for, is to make a purchase like a hat or a coffee that for just a moment in our shitty, terrible world ameliorates a little bit of suffering, just a little bit, just a tiny moment of happiness and joy. And one of the things that these personal finance people just drives me nuts, that they want to attack that action, but we don't want to do anything about systemic issues like the price of vehicles, like the price of transportation, the price of energy, the price of housing. These things are too hard to fix, but telling a group of minions that they'd be a little bit better off if they would just not get as many haircuts is a wild, wild thing to think about.
People, poor people especially, like to punish themselves sometimes.
Speak on it.
I think because like
Tell them, run it back.
There's this like thing of just like my life isn't where I wanted it to be. Some people have more success than I do. What have I done wrong? And maybe if I don't get this coffee, I can get some relief. I'm like, I'm doing the right thing today. You know, I'm not getting this coffee today. I'm not like, you know, I'm buying this stupid thing off of Amazon today. Therefore, I'm gaining a bit more control over my life and headed in the right direction. But it's all kind of a fantasy when it like doesn't pay out. Because like, yeah, you're not going to get yourself out of poverty by not buying a coffee. Like, in fact, it's going to do the opposite because like, you know, if this is just my personal experience. I don't have anything to back it up. But like, you know, if you're a happier person, if you live a more fulfilled life, then you'll probably do better financially, right? Like you'll do better at work because you're happy, you know, or like you'll be less inclined to make big impulse purchases because you've been, you know, keeping a nice, satisfied life constantly. Yeah. That's my habit. Like if I take care of myself, I'm less inclined to like blow all my money on something real stupid.
And like it can't be said enough that the oppressive systems in place are there to keep people from having the small little pieces of happiness, because I couldn't afford a t-shirt that I want while working a minimum wage job. Like all these systems in place basically keep you working and unhappy and just grinding until you don't have the energy to do anything. Like
it's good story time for like middle class and rich people as well, because it gives them like freedom to not feel bad too. Those people are poor because they have bought coffee. Right.
It does give the weapon that the systemic problems that are crushing the people below you, well, it's all on them. So we should feel fine about it.
That's why rich people like Suze Orman, I bet, right? That's why, like, okay, here's a loan, because she came in there and said, no, these people are poor because of stuff they did to themselves.
Right.
So let me ask you this, Nate, and David, you can answer this if you're comfortable. If not, that's fine. Do you feel some amount of guilt for the money that you make? Because I, as a nurse, even though I'm not rich, I'm not poor, I am comfortable. I don't have to check my bank account before I go grocery shopping. I haven't in years. I still do from time to time because it's a hard habit to break. But I genuinely feel guilty when I buy things or when things are just easier because I have some money. How do you feel that guilt at all?
Because I always use my money to buy time. It's why I'm working part-time, is that, like, you know, my wage has afforded me some of my life back, because all I really want is just my life back. You know, I hate going to work and spending my time and energy on something that I ultimately don't feel is worthwhile.
Right.
So I feel lucky in that regard. I don't necessarily feel guilty because I think I'm doing the right thing, which is just like, I just want some of my life back. And I think that's what everyone wants.
And so how do you feel about the people who don't make that?
They should buy less coffee. No,
Jesus Christ.
We already established coffee's bad.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, like, yeah, people that don't, like, you know, they got shot. I don't. And, like, yes, there's survivor guilt there. And, you know, we should do what we can to you know, stop these systems. But also, I don't control the lathe of heaven. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't turn off money being as important in society as it is. And, you know, sorry. And so, like, me feeling bad about that won't help. But also, like, I don't feel rich because I know I'm not rich.
Right.
Right. Like, you know, there's multiple things in my life that I constantly stress about with money. And sure, I don't check my bank account when I go to the grocery store, but I do check my bank account to see, like, okay, am I fucked when I turn 65? Like, am I really, like, I probably am just going to live in, like, a cardboard shack when I finally hit retirement age. Like us all.
But see, like,
right? So the money stressor never goes away.
So it shouldn't be like that, though, because here's the deal. Nope. We ask everyone individually to make these decisions, but we are a society. And there's lots of things that we do as a society, like pick up fucking trash. Like, your trash just leaves your home in some way. Either you put it out or you put it in a dumpster, and it is magically gone and taken care of because we decided that we were going to take care of that collectively. Unless one of you is about to tell me that you live on some sort of, like, weird external compound with no civil services.
I wish we lived on a compound.
That hat really signifies that you live on a compound.
That's true. And so we can do it for garbage, but we can't do it for taking care of people who shouldn't be working. Like, I don't know, President Biden should not be working. He should be chilling out in an armchair watching Jeopardy like an old dude does.
Well, the personal finance, if we really want to, like, maybe exaggerate something, is the source of why Social Security is being hollowed out.
Yes.
Right. Like, because, like, it removes the collectivism of, like, this system, you know, like, we need to support people that can't retire properly because we don't want to throw grandma on the street.
Right. And
I say retire properly. That's like, yeah, this language kind of seeps into you. So, like, yeah, we acknowledge that we don't want grandma to live on the street, but also, what if grandma was more responsible when she was younger?
Right.
Right. Like, no, she was raising 10 kids, you know?
Yes.
But, like, personal finance, like, it assigns blame not to society and the systems in place, but, like, to you, and you didn't take care of yourself. Or even better, it's like, you know, so for example, my mom, I'm just going to talk about my mom for a bit. Okay. Like, you know, she's disabled, right? And she collects both Social Security and a little bonus for being disabled.
A bonus? You call it that?
You get a little bonus. And so part of that is that, like, she I acknowledge, is probably the last generation to get that. She couldn't even collect on Social Security properly until she was 67, because they are increasing the age and nobody talks about it. Right. But anyways, the thing I'm going to here though is that we were sold this promise because I bet you everyone believes it's still 65, right? But like when we hit retirement age, people are going to come to this expectation that there will be Social Security here. But no, the Suze Ormans of the world have convinced everybody, lawmakers and whatnot, that it should be up to the individual. No, you should actually have a 401k, right? You should be invested in the stock market because this is going away, and now this is on you. Aren't you so glad that you have control over your finances?
Maybe your mom shouldn't have had that debilitating, disabling thing happen to her that we know.
That's right.
That she had no control over.
What if she ate healthier?
What if?
You know, like their personal responsibility goes deep.
Yes, I mean
it's a wild thing to hear you say after watching you drink that drink. But yeah, what if she ate healthier? I want to answer. I want to answer Tyler's question as well. I did feel guilt when I made money, and I was very open and honest with everyone that I worked with what I made. I was making $134,000 a year by the time I left, which is an indecent amount of money. I was taxed at a ludicrously low level. So a lot of that money just became personal wealth. And as soon as it was wealth, it was mine and mine forever. And that's not how a society works. That's not how we take care of each other. It's treating like it's all in it for themselves. So part of why we were looking at other places to live in the world is we wanted to be part of a more communal environment. We didn't move to like North Korea. We moved to a capitalist country. All of Western Europe has embraced capitalism, but I pay an effective 34% income tax here. And any wealth that you have over a certain amount of money is taxed every year because nobody should have that much money. And it's a really refreshing way of looking at the concept of money, looking at the concept of work and how we can pool money together to take care of folks, whether they're disabled, whether they just get to a point when it's no longer appropriate for them to be working because of their age, or they're just disinterested in work and need to take a break for a little while.
Yeah, it sounds very anti-American.
But I'm still allowed to vote, so fuck you guys.
Dang it. We're already fucked. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I mean, like, but it is, I think, fundamentally anti-American, the sentiment that, like, you know, because, like, our heroes are rich people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, for our thought leaders, the people that Americans as a collective admire, both left and right, like politically, we love rich people. Like, I think that, like, part of these personal finance people's pitch is that I'm rich. You can be rich too if you follow what I did to get rich.
Right.
And like that sells. People bought into it.
And that was also a big selling point for her debit card that she did, where it was, if you listen to what I say, exactly what I say, this will work out for you beautifully.
Well, like, her pitch was more of like, this is a gift I'm giving to you.
Yes.
Because like there's the right pitch and the left pitch politically, right? The right pitch is
the red color, the blue color. It's coming together for purple.
It is.
So I want the new American dream to have absolutely nothing to do with material possessions. I want it to be that you have self-worth, and because you have self-worth, you have net worth.
Good advice. It's good advice. So, Susie, you just launched a new prepaid card. This is a debit card.
Yeah. Well, before I tell you the real story with it, I have to ask you what you think of the design of
I think it's great. So I love the design. I think it's great. I love that it has your name on it, and it's the approved card.
Do you know why it's purple?
No, why is it purple?
Ready for this, everybody? When you mix red with blue, you get purple. So do you get it? So do you get it politically? The red party, the blue party?
Oh. I was like, we've just gone on a tangent that I'm not following, and it's my show.
It's a very centrist message, actually, right? Because like the right message is do better, stop eating avocado toast, right? The left message is here's some systems that the government is doing that you just don't know about because, you know, the government is working right now. It's a system that works for you. And like, if you just get your credit score up, then you could be like me, or if you just take care of these financial, you know, things, then the system will work because ultimately, you know, Democrats are big capitalists and they believe in capital and that anyone can be lifted out of poverty if they just do the capital thing right. And so that's her pitch. Her pitch is the left pitch. Like she's a left-wing, I was about to say pundit, but like she's a left-wing voice, right? She sits with Elizabeth Warren. She sells herself to the right, but I don't think that that's her target audience. It's mostly left people, right?
I would lean, but I think the more her messages becomes personal responsibility, the more the right side will glom on to what she's saying. And I think David can speak to how tone deaf her speech was at this conference, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to shift off of the approved card. I love this part of her history. I love that her brand was saying denied to people. So when she came up with the idea of selling a product to people, she goes, what's the opposite of denied? Approved. That's what I'm going to call this prepaid debit card that will work like a credit card because it's just a checking account where I charge you a fee every month to keep money in it, and it will impact your FICO score if you use it, which was a bald-faced lie.
HLN tallies up the fee frenzy you'll face with Suze Orman's approved card.
$2 for a paper statement, $1 for pay by check, $2 for over-the-counter cash withdrawal, and $2 to talk to a live customer service agent after one free call per month.
It also costs you anywhere from $3.50 to $4.95 to load money on the card.
Yeah, like, what's the pitch for this card? Like, why? Say I'm like the person that might be like susceptible to this sort of thing. Like, why should I get the Suze Orman approved card?
Yeah, because you're naturally cautious and leery of banks because of maybe your immigration status. Maybe you have horrible credit from fucking up your credit when you were younger and you can't get a bank account or a credit card and you can't raise your score so you can't get a house. You have these things that the capital side of our society have said you are not worthy of even playing this game. Like, you don't even deserve a score. That's who you are.
Yep.
That's who Suze Orman pitched this approved card to, was people that could not get anything to raise their credit score. So she sent them this purple card and said, deposit your checks here for $3 a month. Without even mentioning it costs money to call tech support. It costs money to withdraw money. It costs money to deposit money. All these little micro fees she had attached to it.
Gosh, she really...
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's perfect. And just now hearing you say it, she really was Spirit Airlines before they figured it out. So, wow, good job.
No, Spirit Airlines does a service.
Yeah, like you can technically get somewhere with a plane.
Yeah,
yes.
you can fly. You go to a place.
That's fair. Obviously, the card was a huge bust. I mean, they got lawsuits levied against them. They went out. They went under. It was barely on the market for like two and a half years.
Oh, so it was a short period of time this thing was on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, she still made bank from it, probably.
Yeah,
I imagine so.
She always wins.
Like,
I mean, she's like the house in like a gambling situation, and the gambling of all of it is really interesting when it comes to personal finance. Can I talk about bees for a second? Is that okay?
Please do.
Okay.
I love bees.
Okay, good. Then you might like this story. Except that terrible things happen to bees in this story. I'm so sorry. I should have asked you about how you felt about bees. So bees
and Jim Cramer.
Are you in a situation where you can receive sensitive information about bees?
I'm prepared. I have a powerful mind now. So
okay. So I need your trust in me to know that this story is going somewhere. Some bee researchers up in the British Columbia started to study the behaviors of these bees because they could only access two types of wildflowers that would give them life-giving nectar that their hive needed to succeed. And these researchers, because researchers are all assholes. It's all we do. We are the worst people in the world. Anyone who wants to study something, we are the worst. So when I tell you that I took clinical psychology prep, like I am an evil person deep down because I want to put people in a room and study what they do. But this isn't about me. This is about bees. They took away the flower that consistently gave the right amount. There were two flowers. One consistently gave a predictable amount of nectar, but it was a low amount of nectar. And one, the dwarf huckleberry, was a low chance but high reward. It was the big risk reward flower. And when there was honey in the bank, the bees would go to the safe option. When the researchers drained honey out of the hive, which I guess is something you can do if you study bees, the bees would take the higher risk, higher reward option in hopes of saving the hive, and they would always fail. It caused hive collapse across all of the studied hives in British Columbia. Okay. Why this is important, because they replicated this study with human beings. We took a group of research participants. This was done by Keith Payne out of the University of North Carolina. And what Payne and his colleagues did is they had a control group and they said, I'm going to flip a coin. If you'd like, I'll give you $50 right now. Or we can flip the coin and you'll get $80 of its heads, $0 of its tails. And so in the control group, everyone was like, no, give me $50. I'm not risking it for like terrible, terrible odds. That's worse than a slot machine. Then we had the research group. The research group was told, you are about to be evicted from your home. You have enough money. You just need 80 more bucks. Do you take the coin flip? And overwhelmingly, the participants said, yeah, I need to risk it or else I'm going to get evicted. And this is the culture that we keep people in poverty to, which is why advice like risk it on the stock market, risk it on an investment, risk it so that you can make the money that you need to retire is so appealing to people who are in harmful environments, because we truly are just like these fucking bees.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I mean, like, because like I resonate with that, right? Like, you know, it's when you're at rock bottom and the only way out is putting everything on black. Of course, you're going to do that because like money is a tool to solve a problem, right? Like, you know, when you're poor, it's housing. When you're rich, it's third boat. And so when it's third boat, like, you know, why not gamble? So you don't get the third boat. It's fine. Right. But if you get the third boat, then, hey, you get the thrill. It's just it's a fun thing to play around with. Like, you know, if you have money, you play the stock market.
Well, and Nate,
right?
it almost makes it seem like you think that Suze plays the stock market because most of her money is actually invested in municipal bonds.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, like, yeah. So I get it. But like,
Nate, you and Suze Orman are both big fans of I bonds, from what I can tell.
I mean, I can talk about it. I put all my money in bonds because, like, I'm not here to gamble. I'm just here to have a reliable stream of income because it's not play money for me. I'm not that rich. But I mean, she's probably lying, right? Like that is not what she does. She has stocks almost guaranteed.
I will say that she says that most of her money is in municipal bonds because then she can live off the interest. Because if you have $25 million in a municipal bond, let's say the state or the city of Dallas, then you're going to get an assured amount of money every quarter or every year that you can use for your regular expenses. The problem with that is that you need such an egregious amount of capital that you shouldn't be allowed to have in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's what did I hear recently? Like Mitt Romney has like an $11 million IRA, which like IRAs are capped at like, you know, like I forget what it's capped at.
Those aren't
like
supposed to go that high.
10 grand a year or something. And Mitt Romney's not that old, right? And so like when I look at somebody like Suze Orman, I don't actually believe she knows about finance. What I believe is that she has just an accountant and a family, a family. I forget the term for
generational
investor.
wealth.
Yeah, well, I mean, like investor person, right?
Okay,
like you go to the accountant, you go to your broker. I'm not going to say the joke that she has about brokers because I hate it. Now I have to.
Now you have to.
Brokers only make you broker. Get it? It's because you should.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Nate's
Ormanisms.
Nate's hair actually swooped up there at the end of that pitch. It was wild to watch.
Yeah, my brain was trying to escape. But like, I don't believe she knows about finance because I think like she just knows her particular scams, right? And she just like hands money off to a personal accountant who then goes and invests it because at that level of rich, you don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Just like, okay, just give me as much money as possible. And they probably do the basic thing, which is like, okay, you know, a third into the stock market, third into like how your 401k is probably structured by your work. You know, it's just like, do you want safe or risky or medium? She probably just picks medium and then moves along with her life. Is my guess. I mean, we don't know.
Well, I can tell you what advice she gave our attendees for our virtual conference in 2021, because that really was the culminating incident for me. I knew that I hated this person after reading her books and listening to her podcasts and watching enough of her CNBC show. I did bill work for watching her guest appearance on 30 Rock because I felt like that was work and I should be compensated for anything I had to do with Suze Orman. Where she tells Kenneth
hazard pay.
She tells Kenneth that he doesn't have friends because they're richer than he is, which is sort of her thing. She does tell people that you can't socialize with people outside your financial class, whether true or not. I mean, I don't think it's true, but
I don't think that's.
So she gets.
I hate most of my social class or my like financial class.
Yeah,
those people make me sick. Please continue, David. I'm sorry.
So it's March 2021. You know, we're not doing an in-person conference because of COVID. So we've already asked people for 3 days to navigate this shitty online system to attend conference offerings that we've reduced the price for to the lowest amount possible because we are a good guy nonprofit, even though we had a ton of money. And good guy nonprofits should be a little bit closer to, you know, losing money every year. It's the last keynote speaker. We've had some great ones. Nicole Hannah-Jones talked about her journey and how like people attacked her because she wrote about slavery. We had Daniel Wildcat, who's an Indigenous scholar, who had come in and talked about the amazing work that's been happening for Indigenous communities throughout the Midwest. We even had Karamo as one of our speakers. And he was fine. He told you that even a broken crayon can color. Oh God, I threw up a little bit.
Yeah, but not well though. You gotta like kind of like undo the wrapper and kind of like really press on the paper. Like there's a lot of work to color with a broken crayon.
Fuck you, Karamo.
Yeah, listen,
Nate got your ass.
I'm saying I just know broken crayons.
And here's the deal. Here's the deal, gang. I did op research on all of these people, and I was prepared for Nicole Hannah-Jones to piss off white people because that's what she does. It's her brand. I was ready for someone to tweet that they were an angry white person and they hate our organization. Fuck you. I was ready. I had memos for days. Orman comes up, and at first, she's hitting it out of the park because she opens to the audience and goes, "You're not paid enough for the great work that you do." We have a live chat going for this. Everyone is happy as a clam. Yeah, we deserve more money. And then quickly, we start to take a turn. She says, "I was just a poor black girl in the south side of Chicago, the ghetto." And she actually used the word ghetto to refer to where she grew up. And while I would describe where Suze grew up as a middle-class environment, I wouldn't describe it as a lower-class environment. And mostly it has to do with that she has a lot of mommy and daddy issues because her parents made bad financial decisions. But they made bad financial decisions because they're like that family from the jungle. They were screwed over by their landlord. They were screwed over by their employer. There was nothing they could do. And she resents and hates them for it.
Wait, the jungle as in the book The Jungle?
The book The Jungle, yes. So they didn't actually come from a jungle.
Just making sure I'm on track here. Yeah. not like Suze Orman is from the jungle.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Not like from George and not that kind of jungle.
You know what? If Suze was like a Tarzan figure who was raised by like Planet of the Apes style apes, that would be awesome. I would have never come on with this.
It'd be better if Suze Orman was raised by apes that were good at finance.
I mean, I do love that little snippet, though. I didn't know that she, like, what was the poor financial decision that her parents made?
Well, they didn't. Again, they didn't make poor financial decisions. They were a working class family in southern Chicago whose landlords were completely operating in an unregulated market and increased their rent so that their family had to make hard, difficult decisions and didn't save any money and eventually had a medical crisis, and that put them into bankruptcy.
So she became you can see how that shapes her life a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
She made the wrong choice.
Yeah, but if she hadn't have been in such an infirm, poor family, it never would have happened to her.
Yeah.
It's like her, like, say her parents, went to jail and she's like, okay, I must become the monster in order to destroy the monster. So I shall become a jail owner or a bail bondsman or something, right? Like, she took the wrong approach. I think she saw, because I think she does legitimately think banks are evil. I like that seems like a real dislike of banks, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And there's lots to hate there. But if the alternative you're offering is for us to go like Thunderdome style with our money, that's also wrong.
Well, it's like, because you could see a different Suze Orman, right? A sliding doors Suze Orman, right?
Wow.
Where somebody told her, is like, hey,
you really like that sliding doors joke. I told you.
It's good. It's good.
Have you even seen sliding doors?
No.
You are stealing sliding doors valor.
I don't need to see it to know what sliding doors is about.
Oh my God.
Here's the reason it works though, Nate, is because Gwyneth does have a completely different haircut in the other version of her. And so this is working on every level for you.
Yeah, so you could see like Suze Orman with like a bowl cut where somebody told her, hey, Suze Orman, did you know that the post office used to be a bank? Right? And it had certain protections around it. And it was a non-for-profit. It was just a government run alternative to private banks. And if Suze Orman learned this, maybe she wouldn't have become the personal finance person, but she'd be like a real true blue comrade.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Maybe you just stay in social work school, girl. Get a B.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of other finance people who had like these horrific backstories. Like Jim Cramer hated that his parents were too nice to money, so he became mad at money. Matthew Lesko's parents didn't get enough money from the government, so he becomes...
But yes, though, right?
Wow. Wait, sorry, Matt Lesko. Can I talk about Matt Lesko for a second? Then I'll go back to March 2021.
Yeah.
I went to school with his son, Max Lesko, and their car is covered in question marks.
Hell yeah.
God, I love him.
They're pure family.
I can't bring myself to hate Matthew Lesko.
No.
I don't think you should. I think his message is all right.
There is money from the government. And all Matt Lesko did is read the federal bulletin and republish it. And made it more accessible.
I'm not going to read it.
No, you're not. It's awful.
Right.
Nate, Matthew Lesko's been in my head ever since you said, well, the right side of personal finance is the Suze Orman, and the left side, and I thought the left side of personal finance is Matthew Lesko. He becomes the Riddler. He wants to give you free money from the government.
I'm Matthew Lesko, and my new book will tell you how to tell bill collectors to go shove it. My new book shows you 4,000 government programs that you can use to pay your bills and get out of debt forever. Get $2,000 to pay your rent or mortgage, or even $7,000 to pay your credit card bills. Isn't it about time you get rid of your debt once and for all? Call now and get free money to pay your bills.
Max Lesko, if you're listening, this is how you do this.
Yeah.
This is how you surpass your father.
Yeah. And thanks, Max, for teaching me German for a play. I appreciate you. And I never told you that. So thanks, Max.
We're friends.
Yeah.
We like the Leskos.
Max Lesko is definitely listening to hate speech.
Right, me. I would love to reconnect. Nobody can find me. I changed my name. I don't get invited to reunions or anything. Okay, back to Susie's keynote performance because she's lost some of the audience with this ghetto comment, but she can't see the chat. She's just talking and like this is where I do have a moment of empathy for Suze Orman because presenting virtually is literally awful because you can't pick up on the vibes of the audience, and the vibes were about to become so bad. Is the next thing out of her mouth is, don't forget, you are only worth as much money as you have.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
Self-worth equals net worth, baby.
So you're only worth, like your personal life.
Yeah.
Is only worth the amount of money in your bank account.
Yeah, I'm a 702.
Yeah.
I mean, I have more than 702 in my bank account. I'm going credit score, baby.
Yeah, it's Worthington's Law. Remember Worthington's Law?
David, are you familiar with Worthington's Law?
I'm surprisingly not. It sounds like something I would jive on.
So it's this. It's essentially more money equals better than.
That's right, Bob. Listen to your friend. A person who makes more money than you is better than you, and therefore beyond criticism. This is called the Worthington Law, and it's used to gauge the value of human worth. Carl Espick, economist and editor of Value magazine.
Yeah, that's right. So, what do you think? Wrong. Whatever you were gonna say doesn't matter because I make more money than you. That's if you're 80% of the public, so I'm right. Each year, Value magazine ranks the 500 best people in the history of the world. Did you know that according to Worthington's Law, the opera singer who called himself the Great Caruso was nowhere near as great as Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker? So shut up, Caruso. Hey, who's better than St. Francis of Assisi? Well, how about Daryl Strawberry? See you later, St. Franny, you schmuck.
I get it. That makes total sense,
pause it.
but it's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, yeah, right. That's the joke. It's obviously wrong.
Yeah.
This is where she starts to lose everybody in the audience, and the chat has started to pile on. It all begins when someone says, "I don't feel very worth it today," and drops their Cash App, which is queen behavior in a professional conference chat.
Yeah, that's a dope move. That's like spelling show toes in a Twitch chat, letter by letter.
Yeah, she's doing a job, and I said, good for her. And I sent her money. I felt great about it because I, as a staff member, couldn't encourage any of this, but I could pin messages to the chat, and I started to pin some things that I thought were pretty resonant, like, why are we having the speaker? Who invited her? Who thought this was a good idea? And as Susie keeps going about how you're not really worth anything and you really should be making more money, and why do you have to go to school in order to teach at a school? Why do you have to go to school in order to work at a school? We need to rethink degree requirements. She's saying to a group of people who were all required to get master's degrees to clean up puke in a dorm, which is also, I mean, it is a shitty practice. She's right to call it out, but like, know your audience. The chat has totally gone off. There's no way to control it. I can't even keep a message pinned fast enough because everyone else who works is a leftist and we all hate this bitch. So we're all sort of fighting over who's going to get the spotlight. And all the while, our board chair, who has been on camera with Susie, because this is supposed to be a fireside chat, is just looking dead. She has nothing to do. She can't rein this in. There's no way to control it. And Angela can see the chat and doesn't know how to respond to Susie and just looks dead inside as Suze Orman tells everyone, maybe you'd be better getting a master's in business administration.
There's so many things to say. Thing number one, I've given that look. I've been in that situation where like all you can do is just stare out and just disassociate for a bit. Right. Like you just stare past and your soul leaves. But thing number two, though, is that I do love that she said everyone get their MBA.
After saying don't go to school.
Well, yeah, there's that. But like, they say don't go to school. What they really mean is don't go to school except for something that directly increases your finances, right? Because they're fine with scientists. I think everyone acknowledges that, you know, hey, if you're a scientist, you should probably go get a degree in science. Or if you're a doctor, you should go to school to become a doctor. Yes. I don't think Suze Orman is saying we should have no doctors or doctors shouldn't be educated. Right. But she says that because it's assumed that that's the case. What she doesn't say, like what she really means by don't go to college is don't go get a liberal arts degree.
Don't learn to read. Don't learn to analyze.
Don't be a teacher, right? Because like, you know, that doesn't get you money. You're a fool. Because she doesn't see the value of an education overall, the holistic value of being educated.
Yeah, just knowing things. Like, there's no value in that.
Right.
And that's, I mean, it really gave way to like AI shit. Anyway, it's all. Anyway, well, I have sent a picture to Tyler. If you would like to see what Angela looked like, I asked one of my colleagues who is still at the organization to send me the picture that I know was on her shared drive.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I've given that look.
That is terrifying. That's a woman who knows she's on the way to get her head chopped off.
Yeah.
She's like the third Stark down the line in the fucking Red Wedding.
But what's funny is she's Daenerys. She's in charge of the organization. She's the one who has to chop heads off.
I mean, did she pick Suze Orman? She's like, this is the one.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because this is now where I can talk about things that I wasn't allowed to talk about until July began. So no, she wasn't actually a recommendation of the board. The board said we need to talk about financial wellness. It's important. Our members don't know what to do. They don't know what a checking account is, which I don't think is true, but we're getting notes from everyone that they don't understand what a retirement account is. They don't understand why they have to pay Social Security. We need someone to educate us. Fine, whatever.
A useful service, right?
Yeah. It was actually a third-party organization, the National Collegiate Scholar and Leadership Program, which is a way to hide money and give it to rich white kids who already had access to money and give them more money. And you give like one black kid a scholarship and he's on every newsletter you write for the rest of the year.
Oh, thank God for him though. Good for him. Like
they picked Susie and they were the ones who were responsible for sponsoring this closing keynote. Whether or not they paid Miss Orman, I do not know. We did not give any money to Miss Orman. They were responsible for all of the coordination. We were just hosting the platform.
Yeah, so I feel bad for that person.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because it sounds like she just. Well, and also if you don't. Let's say I had to get together like 10 people for a conference and I had like a couple months. How much research am I gonna do? Like, I feel like Suze Orman kind of gives that, like, the first impression. She's like, she seems fine. I had that when I was like, wait, okay, I need to remind myself who Suze Orman is. We watched a couple clips of the show, and she's like, okay, yeah, she's a personal finance person. Like, not great.
She's a personal finance person who's like a white lesbian. There's probably some leaning to the left there somewhat.
Yeah, and so it was
like you said at the start of this conversation, it lends some credence to who she is, this identity of hers.
At first glance, it's just like, okay, CNN person. But like, you know, as you learn more, you kind of learn what her deal is.
Yeah.
And her deal is that she's a scam artist through and through.
Well, and you don't need to know everything. That's why you have a staff of 75 people who vet speakers. It's why I have.
Right.
It's why I had the job I had. I mean, my actual job was talking about like mental health and substance use. But you know, when it's time for the big conference, everyone does weird things. I was also in charge of captioning. So like I was there making sure the captioners could pay attention to what she was saying and not read the chat because they too were getting really invested in the drama of all of it. When she finishes, and if it was a physical crowd, there would have been no applause. No one would have stood. Everyone was mad. The Twitter was on fire. Angela thanked her. We closed the conference, and we immediately sent out an apology to all of our attendees that this was wrong, that we fucked up, and she never should have had the stage. It blew up from there. Everybody in the industry wanted to cover it. There was an article in Forbes that said that our apology was unnecessary and part of cancel culture, and Suze Orman sued us for defamation.
Hey.
Oh, Susie.
I mean, but like that, you know, she's a scam artist, and scam artists bully when they're attacked, right? When they get called out on scams, they use what they have at their arsenal. Like,
and speaking of, we should say this is a comedy podcast. It's all parody. We're just doing jokes.
Come at me.
This is not legal.
Come at me, girl. Come at me. I'm in a different country.
we haven't said anything
Extradite my ass.
Yeah, David's got no extradition laws where he is.
And like, I don't think we said anything that is patently untrue. No. I mean, like, you know, like, yeah, her card was a scam.
Yeah.
Because like so the thing that got me about this documentary that we watched about Suze Orman is at the end when the card was folding, they had like a month or two to get their money out of this fucking card.
Yeah.
Right. Before it was just kind of like disappeared into the ether. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if people are treating this as their bank account, as a replacement for their bank account, how do they get out the amount of money that they had in there that quickly?
The thousands of dollars that said you have to spend this, you can't withdraw it.
Right. And these are people already pinching their pennies. Right. And so they're like, okay, if I withdraw, then I'll probably get hit by like a huge fee. Like if I just kind of like do a bank transfer or whatever from like.
As I understand it, you couldn't transfer it to another bank. You had to spend it through the card.
Right. You had to like pull out cash from an ATM, which
that had a
great ATM.
That had a fee assigned to it as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so like, I think people were desperate, and then it just like exploded, and like, you know, people probably lost their life savings from this thing.
Some people probably died from this. Like,
oh yeah, no, like that's the real thing about finance, right? Is that to people that have enough money to live comfortably, which we do, if we lost all of our money, like, you know, for whatever reason, we could still recover because we've been established, right? Yep. We wouldn't say this is the end. It's just like it would suck, but we could get through it. For people at the bottom, like the bottom, somebody who can't get a bank account, and would need to get a Suze Orman card, if they lose all their money, it's done. It's over. Give me that fentanyl. You know, I would be literally on the streets. Right, you know, and either die on the streets or die here. And people oftentimes die here. Like it's a serious life and death issue for these people. And so Suze Orman has a body count.
Yes, when you're actively extracting wealth from people with none, you are doing more harm.
Yeah. Right. I would rather her push drugs. Like, honestly, I'd rather Suze Orman be a drug dealer. She would kill less people that way.
Yeah. Plus there'd be a little bit of joy in the middle. Before death.
Yeah, a $12 fentanyl break is a lot better than not giving yourself a coffee. I'll say that.
She would provide a service.
Just a basic service. I will say that Orman was asked about this, and when she was asked about what people did with the money that was left over, she said, well, you know, we responsibly turned it over to state unclaimed property because people who need these cards are very aware of their state's unclaimed property practices.
Yeah, you know. I only go there every so often because I'm a weirdo.
I do too.
Maybe I got that. Maybe Lesko's giving me that money again.
Right, Here's the deal. There's no greater heroism in the world than looking up like an ex and then texting them and being like, "Hey, there's some unclaimed property for you in Texas."
Heroism, or you just want to get one over on your ex?
I don't know why.
Hey, I'm doing you a favor.
Those are
ex.
not. That is a purple Venn diagram. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna make a note for something for me to do later. Neither of you worry about that. But I'm about to become a real hero.
I love that. Do it. All right. Just wild. Wild.
We putting her on the list?
Yeah, should we rank Suze Orman?
Let's put her on the list. Tyler, what is the spectrum of hate? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to say I'm an avid listener to the podcast, but I listen at an elevated speed, and so every sound cue has been insufferably slow to me, even though they are the right ways these things should sound.
Hear that, Nate? We're no good slow.
Well, okay, here's what I'm actually going to do.
Here's what we're going to do for the rest of the episode.
In response, I'm going to slow down the spectrum of hate theme by twice. So that way anyone who's listening at double speed is going to get the normal song.
Double speed? What sort of mute do you think I am? It's 1.2. Calm down.
Okay, I'll split the difference, 1.5.
So the spectrum of hate. I could do that all day. That's so much fun.
I'm gonna speed that up.
You're actually, and I gotta give credit where it's due. That's some very strong mouth control you're exhibiting to make that happen.
I can comment on that, but it has to do with my theater degree. So yes, for the listeners, if you're new to us, the spectrum of hate is a thing where we think that ranking things you hate should be nuanced. And the best way to have a nuanced conversation is with a spectrum. And so we picked something uniformly that everybody could hate. Adolf Hitler. That's the worst thing you could be, is an Adolf Hitler. And on the other end, on our happy side of the spectrum, is someone we can't hate. He's too beautiful, he's too wonderful, he's too kind, but he's still human, and his name is LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton, stay human.
Yeah. Do not go forth to the ether like Shelley Duvall, like Richard Simmons,
like Trump's ear.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Do you think Trump's ear and Evander Holyfield's ear are having fun in celebrity heaven?
It's just, yeah, no, they're having a blast.
So we're going to put Suze Orman on our spectrum of hate.
So
let's ask David if he has any strong feelings as a listener where he thinks the Suze Orman should rank, and we'll kind of go from there.
If she was truly just the agent of capitalism, I think she's holding hands with Hitler. But there are people who have received good advice from her. She is a human who exists in this world. She probably, she gives money to domestic violence organizations to raise awareness about the way in which financial control can be part of domestic violence. So there is
good message. It's to soothe her guilty soul, though.
Yeah.
When I look at this list, wow, John Krasinski really is a speed bump on here, because I think about her being worse than Buffalo Wild Wings, but boy, wouldn't she look great holding hands with another person who claims that they're doing good in the world, but is actually proposing to make the world a worse capitalist place, and that would be YouTuber Mr. Beast.
So I'm tempted to agree. Do you know where my big, my bump is in this list? My dividing line is? It is Buffalo Wild Wings. And here's why, is that if you have a body count, like if you've killed people, not like had sex, that's the fun one. But like
which of these is Buffalo Wild Wings?
Both, actually. I think both. Buffalo Wild Wings has killed people. And so like if you have like indirectly been responsible for a lot of deaths, I tend to put you below Buffalo Wild Wings. And I could see I don't think she has directly killed a lot of people. I think Buffalo Wild Wings has directly killed people.
So we're putting the personal responsibility of actual murders off of Suze Orman.
I think she's laundered it enough. I don't think she thinks she's killing people. I think it's manslaughter. Whereas I know that Buffalo Wild Wings intended to kill that person.
The things I hate about Suze Orman, like deeply, truly despise, I know that those are rooted in the oppressive systems that she upholds. So she's really just an avatar for those systems. So yeah, I'd probably put her between Mr. Beast and John Krasinski as well.
I put her below John Krasinski. I think
She probably is. Yeah, she's worse than John Krasinski.
Yeah. What happened to small talk? I know this is a science and we're never wrong. I don't know why small talk is so low. But we're never wrong, so I'm not going to change it.
No, we'll never.
So, like, oddly enough, small talk is actually worse than
Suze
But
Orman.
we don't know how that works.
No, I would totally agree with that. I co-sign that because small talk is also designed to uphold white supremacy, just like personal
Nate,
finance.
You spelled Susie wrong.
No,
it's Suze.
Oh, there's an E at the end of it?
There's no Y. It's Suze. Suze Orman.
No,
Really?
you know
It's just
I. No I.
S-U-Z-E.
Oh, God. Why?
Because she's fucked up and nasty.
That's not even how you say it. Suz.
Yeah, yeah.
Sus.
Suze.
Now,
Sus
just
Orman.
seeing that, it makes me want to put her at 16 below Hitler. Like I just that's just it raised my blood pressure just then to see that again.
Oh my God. You think a Groiper Nazi has a son named Hitler and it's Hytlyr?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, somebody has done that.
God damn. We have got to stop white people from naming babies until we can figure out what the hell's going on.
Just don't do it.
Hitler.
Don't do it.
So, David, tell these people what you've got going on.
Yeah. I do some podcasts. They aren't as chaotic as this one is, but I think they're a good time. I have a couple where we talk about media with my friend Derek. We talk about weird episodes of TV, high concept. You all were on an episode of Gimmicks, but it was before I was shoehorned in. Much like the cousin Oliver that I am, where now people are starting to be like, oh, you weren't on that episode. No, most episodes I was not on. I am a very recent introduction to the podcast, but we have a lot of fun.
I would not call you a cousin Oliver. What do you do?
Yeah, as a Gimmicks listener, you do not make Gimmicks worse.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I look forward to reading that eventually on an iTunes review. David doesn't make things worse. I have one where I cover mothers in media, so mother figures. We've done everything from Morticia Addams to Genova from Final Fantasy VII. There really is no mother I will not talk about to talk about whether or not they like line up with the idea of motherhood or they betray it, and talk about like how gay the idea of like thinking about mothers is, because that's what gay people do, is think about the way in which we're reinforcing our societal norm that we learned through mothers or mother figures in our lives.
It's so fucking gay to get pregnant and have a baby.
So gay. So gay. So gay. So gay to create life. Truly.
Yeah. I was about to say, you don't have to be pregnant to be a mother, Tyler.
You're right. I was doing some gender bioessentialism. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm changing.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
And if anything, I'm your mother.
Wow. Well, we'll cover that. You know what? I will bring you on to cover Nate as Tyler's mother.
That'd be great.
Wow. Yeah, you do talk down to me and you kind of provide for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I
would you like some milk? I gave you some milk.
I was about to say, I know I've seen Tyler sucking on your tits. Like, I think that's probably the number one. And then
I have a lot to give.
Listen, if that was a terrifying image, then we would talk about it on my third and final podcast, which is FearCoded, where we talk about how gay the horror genre is. And it's my friends Tyler and Marilee dragging me into horror movies, which I famously don't love, and making me watch them many times to do deep media critique and analysis.
Wait, horror movies are gay?
Yeah, all horror is really queer.
Goddamn.
All horror is queer.
So wait, the second Nightmare on Elm Street, then like. That's not gay.
No. Two guys just really like working out together and they picture their gym teacher getting tortured in a sex club. Those are normal, straight, hetero things. I
thought so.
Isn't
completely normal.
Isn't the whole idea that you're in dreams? Dreams are gay. That's the whole point of Freud, dude.
Dreams are gay.
I lay there at night and I don't sleep. There's nothing that happens in my brain.
But you know that's why a lot of insecure men don't sleep well.
It's because their dreams are so homoerotic.
Yeah. That's right. Their dreams are gay.
Mm-hmm.
See, you were gonna call dreams gay. I was gonna say, oh, David's got an interesting
Akira Kurosawa, like that movie, gay apparently.
He's got an interesting movie coming up on FearCoded, Psycho, that actually lines up a lot of his podcast interests with the mother and the horror coming together. I was gonna
that was cute.
promote that.
That was cute. I like that.
But yeah, dreams are gay, Nate.
No, that was great. All of that was great. I wouldn't. Everything that just happened was a perfect encapsulation of my fandom of both of you over many, many years. And to watch it happen in real time in front of me, it was a little bit like seeing the Mona Lisa and being like, wow, that was it. But, it's still...
It's smaller in person.
It's still culturally important.
Nate is the size that he is on the screen in person. Me, I am 6'7". I carry him around in my pocket.
This table is like the table from Lord of the Rings, where it's actually like offset a little bit to make me look normal sized.
No,
we do a Texas switch in live where I throw it and Nate's little head pops up.
I love that. In reality, you are like seeing the David, which was more magnificent than I ever could have imagined it to be, even though I have culturally been aware of it for many, many years. But seeing it, the only thing you can do is be amazed that someone created that out of clay, and that is what you do for the art of hate in the world.
And little peckers.
And little
peckers. Hit the theme song.
Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech. 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 Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech.
Magic Mind may not like our ad, but they'll have to take it from my kidneys if they want it back.